What is up, people of the internet? I'm gonna give you some real life hacks to traveling affordably and realistically. This is not no get rich quick schemes or any kind of sketchy stuff. Like, this is real stuff that I myself have done, experienced, and tried, and I'm gonna give it to you. All right, first things first, I got some of these things written down. I usually like to do some videos like this in kind of sequential order and have it mapped out, but I'm kind of just gonna wing it. But I have the main things that I want to talk about written down. So all the advice I'm gonna give can be for anybody of any age. It's not really the age that matters, it's your personality and the adventurous spirit that you should have if you want to do something like this. Or even if you don't, this will definitely bring that side of you out to the forefront. And this is definitely good for people coming fresh out of high school or college or something around those areas, and maybe you want to explore something else in life. You're just sick of the whole school thing, you want to give it a break. This stuff is gonna be legit perfect. So let's hop right into it. First things first, I've done a video like this in the past somewhere on my channel. It's deep, maybe about 3 years ago. If you go to one of my old videos, to when I was in Alaska, there's a video where I was mentioning what I'm about to mention. So anyway, there are a couple of websites that can help you get out there affordably and kind of have, what's the word? So yeah, I mentioned this one to people that I come across all the time in person who ask me how I travel to certain places and blah, blah, blah. There's this website called coolworks.com. Coolworks.com. Literally spelled COOLWORKS. Coolworks.com. Look this website up. It's legit. I think it is a fantastic way to start traveling within the country. If I'm speaking to people who are native born in the United States. So Coolworks, to chop it all down into a small sum up, is a website where you can apply for jobs all across the United States, including Alaska, Hawaii, and certain parts of the Caribbean. It's up there sometimes. With these jobs, you're not just working a regular 9 to 5. With most of these, you get to work in these beautiful national parks, like, for example, Yellowstone, Grand Canyon, which I personally worked in Grand Canyon a couple years ago, 2 years ago, I think. You can work in Alaska, Denali. I mean, there's so many. And if you're not necessarily into the outdoorsy stuff and you want to be a little more sophisticated, not knocking that, not everybody is built like that to be outside or whatever. So there's a lot of places in southern Florida that are on this website too, like the Keys. I believe I saw something in Miami one time, but it's mainly like working in bars and stuff. So if that's your lifestyle, that'll be perfect for you. And a mega perk that I personally love about Coolworks is you don't have to worry about big time commitment, because obviously you want to travel. When you're traveling, you want to go from place to place. You don't want to kind of be stuck in a place for too long. So Coolworks allows you, for the most part, to pick whatever job you want in any state, any kind of job. I'm talking park ranger, chef, housekeeper. There's all kind of crazy stuff, and I haven't looked on it too much recently, so there's maybe even a bigger variety of different jobs that are pretty cool. Yeah, I got kind of off track. So with that being said, you can choose 1 month, 2 months. Most of them, I think the minimum requirement is about a month, but I mean, it really depends. I mean, when I did it for the first time, I went to Alaska. I went to Denali, Alaska. Well, Healy to be technical, but I was working right outside of beautiful Denali National Park in Alaska. It was amazing. That experience, I could talk about it for days. I mean, people who talk to me about travel in person, I always tell them that was one of my best experiences. So yeah, I stayed in Alaska for 6 months. You don't have to stay there for 6 months. You can choose whatever state. If you want to stay in Arkansas or whatever random place, West Virginia, Georgia, who knows? You could do, and it really is a good summer gig too. This is why I say it's good for like high schoolers or people in college or whatever time off you may give yourself. It's a perfect summer gig because most of the good jobs are in the summer. Another good strategy that I picked up on is once you're out there, you're traveling, you're seeing a different place, but you're also working, which is giving you the leverage to save money to go to the next place. So by the time you're done working wherever you are at the moment, the money that you should and could save up can get you to the next place, and you kind of just get in that cycle for a little bit and just have fun with it. I mean, what is there to lose, you know? So that is a good way to have leverage and pick up momentum as far as going from place to place. And what I did personally is when I stayed in Alaska for 6 months, I saved up a lot of money there. I took an amazing road trip with 2 friends from Alaska all the way down to Los Angeles. And from Los Angeles, I flew to Jamaica, stayed in Jamaica for, I think it was about 2 months. And then I kind of came back to the States and did the same thing again, did a seasonal job and then went back out, traveled again. I went to Tanzania that was a long trip, that was about 3 months, came back. But you know, that's a strategy that you can use if you really wanna take whatever they call backpacking, go backpacking for 2 years or a year straight. That is a superb strategy if you don't have any other ways of making income. I mean, there's no shame to it. This is a perfect finesse. Let me not forget to mention, we got websites like World Packers and what's the other one called? I wrote it down. Woofing. World Packers is very similar to WhoWorks, but it is primarily volunteering, so you will not be paid for this one. But this is international travel. If you look up World Packers, maybe I'll put the link in the description or something, but it's basically the same thing. You pick a place where you want to work, anywhere in the world. You can go to Greece, Italy, and maybe for example, there can be a family that may be putting together a farm on their land and they need help. Maybe they need people to help plant seeds, water, because they don't have the time to do it. So they would be more than happy to welcome guests from foreign countries to come and help them. And in exchange, you get free food most times, room and board, and yeah, the exchange is you basically helping them with their project and they give you a place to stay. But the perk with this is most times you might make lifelong friends and you get to see authentic Italian culture or whatever country you're in, and the food. This is if you're into like real raw travel. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you're just into traveling to a place for Instagram pics and flicks, it might not be your thing. And then you have another one called Woofing. Woofing is basically the same as World Packers. It's volunteering across the world, but this one is limited to just farming. This was actually the first one that I tried out of all of these apps that I'm mentioning. I did this in Kenya for 2 weeks and it was amazing, and I made lifelong friends. Another thing I wanted to mention is travel does not have to be expensive. Now, it is solely dependent on your lifestyle. For me at the time when I started, it's been a while since I've been on the road, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss it. But for me, when I started, I was living a very minimalist kind of lifestyle. I mean, I didn't have many expenses. I still had the privilege of living with my parents, which is no shame. And I leveraged off of that. And I was able to save up money from a basic 9 to 5. And I think I worked for 2 months, saved up around 2 to 3K, bought a flight ticket to, where was I going? To Alaska, and ended up going out there and quadrupling that money by the time I was done. And it was very affordable, because when I was in Alaska, food for the most part was free most of the times. Where I was staying, there was a fee for our accommodation, but the catch to it was already deducted from our paychecks, so it's not like we would ever see the money anyway. So it was basically free room and board, and all the activities I was doing were pretty much cost free, because me being an employee, I had a lot of perks to any and everything. I'm talking going on hiking on mountains and all these other special places and activities that were around at the time. Like, I saved a lot of money. and it's very possible. So don't limit yourself to whatever beliefs you have. Anything is possible if you just have the discipline, and you can get out there and start traveling. Another thing I shall mention, let's not create excuses, let's create opportunities. I had a lot of opportunities to make excuses before I started traveling, but once I decided that this is what I wanted to do for a little bit, I made it work, no matter what the circumstance was. I know some people might have kids or something in your life may be holding you back. It could be fear, but you really have to establish your priorities if it's what you really want to do, because the only thing stopping you is you at the end of the day. So let's create opportunities, not excuses. I want to keep this video relatively short. The last thing that I want to mention, this is really important with, I think, a lot of people. This will touch a lot of people who watch. Fear. It can be scary getting out of your comfort zone and whatever you're used to and literally going to a new place that you don't know. Like, it's nerve-wracking and scary, but it's supposed to be. That's a part of the adventure. So don't get over the fear. Embrace it. Yeah, don't get over the fear, embrace it, and it'll naturally go away as time goes on, as you start to adapt. Because within that fear, once you embrace it, I mean, that's growth already. I think the first time I traveled alone, I went to Kenya. Like, I was living in New Jersey. Not only did I go to Africa, I went to the furthest side of Africa, East Africa. It was like a 12-hour flight, somewhere around there. Like, I went all out, and I was scared. And like, family was nervous for me. Everybody was nervous for me. This was COVID time. I kind of was wilding, but I'm a brave guy, so yeah, it was nerve-wracking. But once I actually was on the plane and was out there, I was like, this is not bad. I could low-key do this. Like, there was a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, I was uncomfortable and way out of my comfort zone, but eventually the things that make you uncomfortable become your new comfort zone, and you just keep leveling up, and it builds character. It builds character, it builds memories, it builds stories to tell, which is one of the best things to have. I think a lot of people take that for granted nowadays. Everything is like taking pictures and videos on phones, but having the memory in your head is what's really important, because life gets in the way sometimes, and you might have dark days where you just feel down in the dumps. But sometimes, at least for me, I can look back to these memories when I was stepping out doing these things, and I inspire myself, like, man, if I was doing that before, I can do this. You know what I mean? And it's also just good stories to tell and talk about. Like, it's just a fun thing to remember. It brings a smile to my face, genuinely. I don't think there's anything else I want to cover on this topic right now. If you have any real questions, you could DM me on Instagram at Vevante. I mostly do car content right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not still like into this kind of stuff. So feel free to message me if you have any questions, or if you want some tips, advice, I got you. As long as it's genuine. I don't like my time being wasted. Yo, make sure you like, comment, and travel, and subscribe. Peace.